Welcome to Base Building with Daisy. New base items review. Page 6 is live. Homecoming has released another update, and this one has some really cool new base items. Let's see what's new, and I'll talk about a few uses for some of the things. You will notice right away when you first open up the editor, there is a new tab right up front. Editor's Helpers is a new category, and it's got some very helpful items. First of all, if you have a base that features any kind of water that you wish went to the horizon, now that's a reality. You can get rough water or smooth water fill, horizon to horizon, with or without sound effects. That is huge! And if you are going to have water larger than one of the large plates in an interior location, you can still use these large tiles to avoid that overlap of the plates and flicker that is so easy to get. Simply build your ground above the water line. Next in the tab is the axis gizmo. This was primarily created by the base developer for the base developer, so that person would know which way the item should orient coming out of the editor. If you want to know which direction an item is oriented before you start trying to tilt it, this is something you'll value. If you're like me and just hit Shift-Alt or Control-Alt to see which way it moves, then this will be less useful. Up next, surface aligner. Essentially, this is a tall ruler that measures feet. Now you can see how high something is, and you can make sure that something in another location is the same height without having to carry it from one location to another. This is great. We now have actual measuring tools in the editor. And then we have the axis aligner. Now, this looks like a tintable room corner. It's the size of a 2x2 room, such as the entry room, and it has what looks like one floor and two walls that all intersect on one corner. This is to help you line up something on 3 axes at once. Maybe you have lights that you want to be the same height on 2 walls that are perpendicular. Perhaps you need to see where a wall will intersect or should intersect with another wall. Or you want to make a perimeter that is precisely the same on both sides of a corner, and so on. This item can be made any color you wish to better be able to distinguish it from the other things you may be working on in that area. And even if left in place after you finish editing, it has no collision, nor will it show up, so it won't block people if you forget to remove it. But please remove it because it will add to your item count. Next is something I know a lot of people will be excited about once they realize what it is. This is the surface tower. 18 levels of plates that each represent the height of the base room. When placed on the floor of a base, it will extend up to the very top of the available space above the base. You can use the floor plates that extend out from the centers as floors, meaning you can place things on them and they respond just like a floor. This version does not have collision, meaning you can fly through it, and if you try to land on it, you will fall. However, there is another version, the surface tower with collision, which of course has collision, and you can walk on it while editing if you like. It has openings in the floor that will allow you to get from level to level if you are using the one with collision. Once you have the tower up, you can build at the desired level very easily by laying down one of these surface tiles. Again, they act just like floors. In fact, on the surface tower, every surface can be attached to by floor without having to change attachment. This is a game changer. No more figuring out how to get a floor down or up to where you need it to start building. You do still need to build over, at least partly within the bounds of any rooms you have placed, however, the same as before. Just because you see a surface that stretches past this boundary does not mean you can build on it. The surface tiles also come with and without collision. If a surface tile has collision, it will remain visible when you exit the editor and act like a floor or a wall. If it does not have collision, it will be invisible and provide no collision barrier, but you should still take it out to keep your item count lower. If you were hoping that these surface tiles could provide invisible barriers and you are now very disappointed, I have great news. My fabulous partner in crime, my co-community representative, Easter Bunny, went to bat for all of us with the developer to make sure we got invisible barriers. These are the collision walls you'll find just after the surface tiles. These are very visible inside of the editor, but outside of the editor, they are invisible. However, they do have collision, so if you wanted to section off a part of your base, say the sky to keep people in bounds, now you can. If you need an invisible barrier to make sure people keep the perspective they need to keep on your city view, well, now you can do that. These will make wonderful guiding walls for slides. Trust me on that one, they will. You'll see when I make a video on how to make slides. The last two items in the Editor Helpers tab are very interesting and require explanation, which you can find explanations for all of these items in the Information tab on the item box. The last two items are the Fit gizmo and the Collision gizmo. The Fit gizmo is the size of a character box, so you use it to determine whether or not a character will fit in a given space, say under a doorway or in a hall, or if there's enough room between the seat and the table for the character to stand, which they have to do before they can sit in the chair. The Collision gizmo is the size of the minimum space required between any two characters, and this will help you know whether or not, say, two characters could sit on a sofa, or how many characters can sit at your bar, or if two characters walk side by side down a hallway, will they both fit? No more bringing in a second account or a friend to test things out. The Fit gizmos will stay visible with collision after you leave the editor. The Collision gizmo becomes both invisible and intangible. You'll find a change that didn't add an item in the Pick Style tab. You can now choose to have the ceilings not only show the open sky, but you can select to have the sky open so people can fly through it. This will make it even easier to build inside of the base and take advantage of the lighting present there, because you don't have to account for a ceiling that won't let you fly through it. However, if you want that feature, you will have to select it. It's not default. Another change is one I asked for after doing the last video on disguising surfaces. Inspiration storage is so difficult to hide, so I asked if they could extend the touch zone that you can see when you enable hidden markers through the bottom of the inspiration container so that you can turn it upside down and still access it. And they did that! Now you can hide the storage in a wall or in the floor and put your own designation that fits your design as the marker for inspirations. Next we come to one of the most exciting things they've added to the editor in a long time, new letters! And not just a new font, we have two new fonts, and they come in so many different sizes. And there are not only the letters and numbers like the first set of letters had, but pretty much all of the characters you find on an American keyboard. There are uppercase and lowercase, and there are letters larger than what we had all the way to very, very small. And none of the new letters have the invisible barriers on the back of them like the original letters did. This makes most of my lettering video obsolete, and I don't even care. We have letters! Not only will this make all kinds of lettering so much easier and faster, but so many tintable and variously sized shapes are just begging to be used in various creations we couldn't even attempt before. Side note, there has already been an issue reported with the letters in that they won't become white in outdoor lighting. I'm sure the dev will be working to correct this, but as of this time, at release, you need indoor lighting to see the letters as white or even colored. The next tab with the new items is Bath and Kitchen. We have coffee mugs and mug shelves. The coffee mugs range from an Arachnos mug with a brighter, more visible emblem, to a heroic coffee mug, to mugs that take on your supergroup logo, to tintable coffee mugs, and a winter coffee mug. There's even a filled winter coffee mug, full of what looks like candy canes in a whipped cream topped mug of hot cocoa. In dividers, there's nothing new, but the glass wall has been modified so it no longer blocks some FX. This was meant to prevent the glass from stripping certain costume pieces away because the glass wall is used in certain Praetorian missions, and the effect was noticeable. The wall and the glass dividers no longer strip the FX from databases in Tech Power, but they do still strip FX from things like fish and light effects. You may want to check your base if you were using these to hide or create a particular effect. But if you were using the glass wall, substitute in the large glass divider, and for most items, it should have the same effect. In lighting, there is now a small white bunker light, very similar to the red bunker light that came in the last patch. It's great when you need the appearance of a small light. It has a warm glow to it, but it's not actually going to light an area. If you want to know if a light is actually a light source, turn on hidden markers and go look for the light bulb. Remember, lights can only actually brighten an area when the base is set to the indoor lighting. That's under Options, and it's the default setting. In the Office tab, we have new universal bathroom signs. This is an important issue for some players, and they are very happy to see these. Players with huge characters will be happy to be included, or at least not left out, as there's also a gigantic sign. The next tab with something new is Skies. We have a new skybox, Dimensional Ripple. It looks a lot like a darker version of the Storm Palace sky. It's a small box, only 5 grid squares by 5 grid squares, and the height of the base itself. When you are outside that area, you will see the default sky instead. This is another sky that is permanently on the night cycle, even though you will see a sun. Even though you see a sun like you do with the space sky, the lights that only turn on at night are on the entire time. The last tab to include something new is Wall Details. At the end of this tab, you'll see 2 beautiful new consoles, one in tech and one in arcane style. And I believe that's all for now. Not a super long list, but it's one with a huge impact. Base building just got easier with the new editing tools, and the scope of what we create is now bigger than ever. So I hope you have fun with it. Thanks for watching.